Hello everyone, we're here today with another episode of Drafting Dimes Kaldheim edition on channel Trevor-The-Timmy. Thank you everyone for joining me. If you'd give me a thumbs up and subscribe, I definitely appreciate it. Leave a comment if there's any misplays or anything else fun you see today, and here we go. Let's dive in on this. Played against this a bunch, have not gotten to play it yet. I think we will give it a try and see if we can be somewhat aggressive. I definitely like the white aggressive decks. It's definitely been something I've tried to kill on the spot when the opponents have had it. So basically when it enters or dies, I can exile a creature card from the graveyard, and then when you do, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control other than this card that shares a creature type with the exiled card. So if there's lots of humans, lots of warriors, something like that, they can all get a buff, which is definitely a nice plus. At worst case though, it's just a 3-mana 3/3 flyer, which is fine in almost any deck, so we will definitely take that and be happy with it. If that wasn't here, there's not a lot I would be going towards right now, like the Snowland maybe to go snow. I do like this in aggressive decks. I don't know if it's the card I want to first pick. Maybe we'd go the Giants route. Again, this has been fine. Okay, let's see for our second pick here. So we've got some options, definitely. If we think we're going aggressive, this is a good aggressive card, but you hope to get that later. This is also a pretty good card. Just gets in there, trades with anything. Bergstrider, if you go snow, doesn't go great with our first pick, but there are some snow options here. We've really not gone that way. Squash also goes well in the Giants kind of deck. The only situation is if somebody starts picking these up thinking Giants is open, that could cause some competition. I think we'll give Bergstrider a try though, just to see where we're at. The other option is again some kind of white-black aggressive deck. Taking this, we'll take the Strider. The person next to us took the rare, so I don't know that we get a lot from that. The alternate is take the Snowland, but we could just go into a base blue. Okay, so instantly we get the choice of do we go back towards a white aggressive type deck with one of these cards, or do we try to go for some type of Giants with a squash or a land. I like the white aggressive enough that I think we're going to take this and kind of stay open. If we wheel, ideally the Raptor, just because it's a flying first strike, constantly gets in there. We would play this, but we'll see. This might just be a better card in a vacuum, but you do need some Giants for it to work. There's a couple of plows going around. Take those and build the deck. The plow and the Giant Ox deck. There's the Giant Ox. Okay, so the question becomes, are we going into some kind of red? There's always this option if we stick in the blue path. I think this pick definitely puts us in a more aggressive deck, though. This guy is pretty solid in that deck. We'd love to have one of these come back. We would also play the pick. We'll take him, just making all of whenever a creature dies, you're returning it to your hand when you get it equipped or enchanted. And that also makes your tokens bigger, so it's good with the Foretell, make 2 dwarves. Well, we could take this and potentially still think about Giants, even though we've been passing that. Somebody should be rewarded for them here. If we're aggressive, though, I think this is a pretty replacement level 2-drop. This can be fine in decks, but normally you don't want a huge amount of them. If you're aggressive, normally their creatures aren't tapped too often unless something's going wrong, so you really don't want to play that. Again, not an aggressive card. We'll take the land and just see if that stays somewhat open. Well, we've got our option of either just a mediocre 2-drop, the flying 3-drop. We've got a 2 already, so I think we will take the flying 3-drop here. This has not worked out well for me. I just got blown out by it a couple times, but I'm thinking it's not a very high card overall, just based on when I've actually played it. I have not liked this. It's just a 4-mana, deal 3 to something, which I mean you can play, but there's also always the chance for a blowout if they have a combat trick where you just pump them. So we'll take the flyer. Options here, well, we will take the squash. I It does, in theory, leave us open if somehow we switch back that way. I don't think we are. I would play this, but I think squash is just definitely safer, especially if we can get a giant or two. Oh, here's our option for a giant. We could take a snowland as well. Then we're hoping to get the one red shock that turns into a bolt. The giant's fine. This has also been fine, depending on where you're going. We don't have a lot of small creatures yet, though, so I'm not sure how much we'll love that. I think we'll just take the giant and be happy with it. Not a lot for us here overall. We can take the active trees in. I don't think we're foretelling if we go into some kind of weird giant stack, but I think it's got a higher upside. Or we could take this if we end up into a weird 3-color deck. I think we'll go with that. If we end up there, we might want that. We will take the run amok if we stay aggressive. I think this is one of the better aggressive payoffs that people do not value. Just a red Doomblade. Okay, here we're getting cards back. This is a little better. This is a 2-drop. We're going to take this, like I said, above it. Normally I would not do that in most sets, but I think when you're aggressive enough, this thing is just very hard to beat. You get a couple equipment or enchantments, it just gets really big and puts a very fast clock on them. We'll take another run amok. This is where we want to be. We'll take this okay 2-drop, basically good at any point. You can pitch something later or just play it early and take another one. It turns into something that is technically a combat trick. Probably not playing it. We will take that for the collection most likely. Still being a free-to-play player, we will want these when we're doing some standard videos. Also, I mean, this is a good card for us, but we already have a couple 3-drops, so I'm not terribly upset about losing it. We would play, I mean, Bound in Gold is very good. We'd play any of these. Hopefully we get one of them back. We probably would play this, but we're just going to take the Mythic. Other good cards in the pack. These are both good cards. This is really overperformed in this format, especially with ways to copy it like this. There's kind of the 2-drop here. Let's take the Mythic. Stash it in the board. We're not playing it. Giants is just all kinds of open. For us, though, it's not something we're going to pivot into at this point. We will take the Angel. We won't take 2 rares in a row. But the Angel, I think, is a good aggressive card. It's a really good follow-up to something like a Raptor 2, where if they kill your Raptor, okay, you get a 2-mana, 3/2 flyer that you can just equip everything to again. We'd play either of these, most likely in the wheel. Just a very low-curve aggressive deck. So we'll take that. What did we put in the board by mistake? Oh, here, get rid of that Mythic. We're not playing that. So we get another choice of a good rare. We're going to pass on that, though. Not being in our colors, we can either take Frostbite, again, a good removal spell. I think we're going to take the Valkyrie here, though. Like, we'd love to have either of those come back. There's the argument we take the Frostbite, and this might come back, which I could see. We might go that way, actually. I think this is higher value in our deck, but I think we can get one of these 2 back, which is fine. We really hope it's the Valkyrie. But I think somebody else will snipe the Frostbite, so we're going to take that. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Maybe we can splash our giant. Some good value. It's probably just going to be the pick here. Just add some power to our creatures. It's cheap to equip and gives you treasure back, which is good. Both of these are just very mediocre 4s, which we already... I mean, we're going to default to playing the giant anyway, so we can play these. Yeah, it's not even really close. I mean, if we thought we wanted to play blue, we'd take that, but the pick is pretty playable. There's a land. It's just going to definitely be this 2-drop for us that can run away with games if you're able to play it. They either stumble, don't play something, they're foretelling cards. You start to get a bunch of 2/1s. You can also use the combat tricks to get it through. We would like to have a couple of these. They're definitely better than the Raider. I would play these over the Raiders, but this is just much better overall. So we'll take it. Be happy. Oh, a bunch more choices. I haven't been super impressed with this. I know a lot of people really like it, but I'm going to take the Valkyrie. I just really enjoyed these, especially in aggressive decks. so we will take that. Hide wings for now. Okay, giant's a little expensive, especially if we had a couple squashes, we'd probably default towards a giant. I think we're going to take the cleric. Again, just another 1-drop, but when you can cast it later, it adds that +1/+1. You can give it to something like a raptor that has evasion, or Valkyrie, so you can pump something else up and then use it as a chump blocker too. If we were in a tight spot, we might play this, but I'd prefer to play some of the other equipment. So let's take that. Not a lot we want here in our colors. We're probably taking the plains just to turn on Frostbite if we get a couple more. No one really wants the snow-covered plains in the snow decks. They're normally the other 4 colors or some combination. Destroying a land doesn't have a lot of value for us. Again, we're going to try to be aggressive, so we're not a good spot if we're needing to use this in most situations, and I just don't want to play this in best of 1, so take the land. Okay, we got almost all our options back. Since it's towards the end of pack 2 and we haven't seen a rune yet, I don't value this too highly. We have a couple 2s already. We have 3 2s, so, and a couple 1-drops, so I'm not super high on that. I think this is probably our best pick here. I don't know how many more 3s we want, but definitely being able to give everything a +1/+1 to go right here is some good value. So options here are either Helm or Valor of the Worthy. So +1/+1 when it dies, you get a 1/1, or doing some extra damage. Since we have payoff for the equipments, I'd like a second one. If we already had like a second pick, we'd probably go this way. But we're going to take the Helm and be happy with it. Valkyrie did come back around, which is great. I really like the Frostbite pick better than, again, we take one of these, but we'll be happy to go up to 3 Valkyries. It looks like white is pretty clearly open. Neither of these are great. That looks like a giant, doesn't it? Give me a dwarf giant. We'll take it. I think this could potentially run away with a game. I don't think we're actually playing it, though. I think we already have one of these, but we're not playing that, so there's a chance if something goes horribly wrong here, we play an active treason. We may actually play that. We'll leave it in for now. This we will play, though. Just a rare in our colors. I can see what we have for angels and clerics. I think we have 4 angels right now, which we do. Okay, and then 1 cleric. There might even be some overlap on that. Nope, that's a cleric. But if you ever get one of the starts where you just go him, or her, excuse me, into another angel, or a couple angels, depending on what the curve looks like, or if you are gaining life another way, if some of these make it back around, you just crush people really quickly with +2/+2. If nothing else, it's a flyer. That's probably all we want for our 3-drops, otherwise we're going to start cutting something like this. So that's probably the end there. We're hoping to wheel. Ideally something, we have a lot of things we'd like to wheel. We take either of these, we take either of the cards in our color. Geez, there's a lot of options here. We're going to see how many angels will be too many. Probably take the angel. Our other options are any of these. We could continue to hope the angel wheels, which actually probably is reasonable, and take the pick. In terms of our 2s, we're still at, 4 2s? We would like one of those, but where are we at for equipment right now? I think we have 2 equipment, so we would like a 3rd. We'll take a pick as a 3rd equipment. I think we're more or less set on equipment now. We will take this, though, just being an insane enchantment for us. Just a +2/+2, and then you can return something as well. So get some value on that. There's not a lot else here for us anyway. We could probably potentially play him, but even still, he's not super great. He's just a mediocre 3, so we might even cut him. If we had ways to cast this, we'd probably play 1, but this is a pretty easy pick. We will take the rare. That's one of the better 2-drops we've talked about. At 3, we've already got a bunch of 3s we want to play. I mean, it's just replacing this. This is a very high value 2 for us. Turns like this +1/+1. I think he's +1/+1. Let's see the total number of dwarves we have right now. So just 3. But if we wheel one of the Foretell 4-drops, we'd play that too, just make it better. So we will definitely take that. We're getting some real choices here. So we can go with another giant, go with a mountain. Unfortunately, we basically need to hit all of them to turn Frostbite on, so it's not a high priority. I haven't loved these so far. I've definitely got beat down by them sometimes, but I think we're just going to take Bound as an extra removal spell. We're not going to be unhappy with those, especially with a couple ways to bring it back. Okay, well, we've got another great 2-drop, so that's just easily where we're going. I have not liked this in the deck, if anyone's asking. I did have the God one time, so I guess if you're playing that deck, searching for it's probably worth it. Outside of that, I'm not really interested. Just not good, in my opinion, in the Boros aggro decks. We maybe play one more of these, but I don't even know that we'll need them. We will take that. It's going to get the Dwarf Synergy, so we will play it over, where are they? The Raiders here, and it just has lifelink. Solid card. Another Dwarf. I don't think this one actually sees play, but we're not playing either of these, so we'll take that. I don't think we want any more equipments or artifacts or enchantments at this point. We have 3 equipment, 2 enchantments, so I don't think we need any more. I think we're just going to take another 2-drop. Maybe one more of these will come around and we'll decide to play it. We will take the reinforcements. That probably sneaks its way into the deck. Seems like it's going late. This has been very good when I've played against it. We're not playing any of these. We already have 2 of these. We're not playing that over to more aggressive 2s. We'll take that. It's going to sit in the board. We'll take another 2-drop. We're not playing it either way. We're not playing 3 of them. That we could potentially play. We might even play that over the flyer. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming our way this draft. Would have loved another Raptor or 2 just to start off more aggressive, but we've got some good cards. These are just wheeling all around. I like where this came together. I think we definitely got in colors that were open based on some of the rares and other cards that we're tabling. I think we didn't get 1 Angel back, which means somebody probably moved into white, if I'm remembering correctly, but that's also fine. 3 of those is a really good number. Let's cut him. It's probably not making it. I don't think that is either. We had 16 lands. Let's make other cuts first. We need to go down a land. So let's cut these 2. I do really like the run of Mux. He's not that great. That's probably going to go. I think we're going to cut the Hulk and the Squash, because without the Hulk, we don't have any ways that I can think of to activate it. And as a 5-mana deal 6, it's fine, but we're playing pretty aggressive, so I don't think we want that. Depending on where our curve is, we may cut 2 lands. This functions like a 2-drop. This also hopefully functions like a 2-drop. We've got a decent amount of flyers too, so I'm really not sure we need this. Being able to tap something is pretty solid. And definitely pumping the team is good. What do we have for creatures right now? We've got 16, so this is technically 17. Let's get rid of that for right now. I think we're going to cut the Valors. I think we've just got better options than them between the Helm, Steel, and the picks. So what is that at right now? We've got 5. It's probably the top of what we want to play. So we're going to make 2 cuts, which may just end up being the lands. We could get a little punished for that, but I think we would like to be aggressive. So we're more towards the white side. I don't know that we want to cut 2 red, do we? Actually, most of our red. I mean, we'd like to play some of these early, but this is still fine in the mid-game. These we'd like to play early. Definitely heavier on the white side in this deck. Let's go down to Plains and a Mountain. So we'll be at 15 lands, definitely on the lighter side, but assuming we can cast these for 2 or 2 and then 2 the next turn, our curve tops at 3. So we're going to try to take advantage of that. We have 2 ways to make treasures, which is nice. The one synergy we're missing out on is it's nice when you have the 2/1 that when it dies makes a 1/1. So when you're returning that to your hand, you just keep going for basically ever, which is really nice. This also makes treasures, so we've got multiple ways to make treasures. We should have things to do with our mana, but I think 16 and 17 will lead us to flood a lot of games when we just don't need that. Our removal is going to mostly be focusing on run amucks as removal. They have to block when we're being aggressive and bound, but I think we're okay with that too. Let's take a look at the curve just for the heck of it. I mean, considering these as 2 drops, we've got a heck of a curve. We put that at 3 because that's the earliest we're playing it. That is a really light curve. That's the way I'd like it with these decks. I think we've got some power here. We've got a lot of synergies with the different dwarves too. It'll be great if we can get that going, and then I really love a 3rd run amok in this deck, but they're basically forced to block that to try to not let you run away with +1/+0 and all the treasure tokens. So I mean, could potentially be talked into playing this as that final run amok. I'm not sure that that's right though. I think we're cutting a creature at that point. I mean, we can also just slap this on here and just make it a 5/3, make it tough to trade with. So I think we're okay with this as it is. Let's get in there and jam some games. Before we get in, if you have any comments, leave me a comment with how you think we'll do in this. If I'm predicting, I'm thinking we're going to get 4 or 5 wins with this one. I definitely think this is on the higher side of decks we've drafted. Definitely aggressive and should be able to run some people over. Now, we could always mulligan terribly or never hit lands and lose all 3, but I think on average this is a 4 or 5 win deck. So if you want to make a prediction, leave a comment. Tell me how many wins you think it'll be. We'll see if you're right. Come on, we're ready. It's just making us build that anticipation right now. Moto 1128. Okay, well, we've got our colors. This is the only card we, in theory, couldn't cast right now, but even if we cast that a little later, that's fine. We will take this to go first, play this on turn 2. Hold up, run amok when we attack, then play the pick after. If we get to pick, we draw 1 more white source this game, and that might be it. Hopefully this will be a game where our lower land count comes into advantage too, that we're drawing more real spells. We're not activating this, I don't believe, for a little bit still, so we're going to run this one out. And if they have actual removal, we'd love if we can jam that in later in the game and at least get 1 activation out of it. I don't expect them to want to try to trade here, but let's find out. We will run amok if they do. I think that's the correct choice on their part. So now the question is, do we play the pick, which is fine, starts to give us a gold? I think we do, because then we can play 2 things next turn. I think the default would be to play this and try to trade if they offer it, but this way next turn we can equip, get in for 3, and then play one of our 2 drops after. I think they're priced into attacking, yeah. They also do not have a 3rd land. Okay, that makes this a little better. So we play that. We are going to equip and get in. The question is, which one do we want to follow up with? That's a cleric. That is a cleric. So we probably should follow up with this later. So if things start dying, let's equip there. Get in, game 3, play this. And then we start gaining life as we play either of these two. If they can't run us over here, they're in some trouble. So we can't quite get to being able to pump the team yet, which is unfortunate. So we can play this. Gets us up to 23 life. Or 26 life, excuse me, from 20. So by the end of the turn, we'll have that. So right now, doesn't really matter. Might as well get in there. We'll play both of these then. If they decide they want to block, we will run amok. So let's get in. I don't see them blocking. This is going to be close to a unbeatable curve, I think, unless they have some kind of wrath. I just don't see them coming back from that. We've got 9 power of flyers, 10 power on the ground. We've got run amok. Yeah, this should just be game. Yep, there it is. I mean, the opponent obviously got stuck on 2 lands. This is a pretty insane draw against most people, though. They're going to have a hard time beating that. That's definitely what the deck is capable of. The axes have way overperformed for me when I've played them. Just letting you do silly things like that. Or if they don't have a removal spell, it's just generating mana every single turn. Just very, very silly for an aggro deck to be able to do that. The opponent obviously had to respect the combat trick too. Like if they try to go for a trade, we just run their creature over, still get in for 3 damage or more, depending on what our power is. This is a little bit less outstanding deck. Hand. Play this on 2. I guess we're probably playing this on 3 then for efficiency, but we'd love to hit a 1-drop here. We will not. This is the perfect Hawk hand where you go that on 1, this on turn 2 and start racing. They are some kind of aggressive deck, it looks like. Longboat. I have not loved that card so far. So now we're going to get the lifelinker out. If we're playing some kind of aggressive mirror, we'd rather gain life. They either attack and we can get in. Question is, do we equip? Probably not. That's a good one, though. That's a nice little combo. They're either stuck on lands or they're mono red. We will not block. Thank you for the offer. Oh, so the question now is, are we playing the pick? I do like the pick quite a bit. Or are we going with this? Let's go with the pick first. Just gain 3, get back up there. Then if they don't do it, or if they tap out by some chance, we're probably just gonna equip this here. Maybe just play him. So if it dies, they have to kill him first. Otherwise, this just comes back to our hand. And then it's a 5/5 lifelinker, which is just very tough for an opponent to beat. I assume we're taking 5 here. Oh, that's not what I was expecting. They must have something on 5 they want to ramp into. 5 or 6, I guess. I think they missed out. Unless they have a way to give it haste. There you go. That makes more sense. So it's like, others, you missed out on damage. You could have gotten in for 5. Getting in for 7 is not bad, I suppose. Granted, when we gain 5 back next turn, it looks a lot better for us. Not that the opponent would know that, but let's... This doesn't pump, does it? It's tokens. Okay. So after we get that, the question then becomes, do we want to play this out and get a bunch of 2/1s? So there might be some value in. I think there probably is, because then we can boast if we hit a white land. Let's get in there, though. Put them down to 12, go back to 18. Yeah, and if we do, and we're burning these either way, so let's just get all the 2-1s out. Threatens quite a bit of damage, too. If they want to swing, we will block, and if they get a run amok, that's fine. We'll definitely call and try to block both, make them have 2 tricks, or they can save 1. That we will not block. I really keep thinking they'll play a creature before. I mean, depending on what they have. Like, if they have a lot of dwarves, it's worth obviously trying to keep this alive. If they have a big 5 or 6 in their hand, probably worth it. Otherwise, I think they need to get somewhat aggressive or hope to try to trade with this. I realize it doesn't feel good to trade 5 power. They don't know we have this, so it coming back is good too, but it doesn't feel good to trade all these creatures for it, but I think that might be a better play. Again, not knowing what's in their hand. But this is just going to run away with a game if they don't deal with it soon. It's going to be tough for them to stay alive while taking chunks of 5 lifelink. They're not even willing to attack with that. No, we will not block. We'll take the 3. So if we put 2 in front of it, they have run amok. We just traded 4 mana for, okay, that's a good one. We do need to play, yeah, because they can trade either way, even if we pump it. So we do need to play him first. We're just going to swing it with a 5. We are going to swing all. If they want to eat one of these, that's fine. We'll hit them for 7. And if they don't, fine. We get in for 4. They trade. I don't think there's good options for them overall. Oh, they can crew again. Vigilance, yeah. Okay, so they can either double block. That's a better play. We will. I think getting rid of the champion's the best plan right now. We're probably just going to replay him and equip. No, that's a fun play too. Good play by our opponent to get that extra treasure. So we can return. Let's play him out. Go for the equip again. We'll force them to beat that in a long game. At some point we can start boasting too. Oh, they were just stuck on mana. Interesting. I mean, at some point we either hit our Magda or we start hitting angels. Oof, that's tough to beat. That will definitely... Oh, especially with the dwarves. Yeah, we could just lose really quickly here. Because if they just block and crew, they just all of a sudden get a million treasure. So we're going to have to be somewhat aggressive. So I think we actually need to kill this now. That was just, I mean, obviously not knowing that's coming, but we want that gone. Let's equip. So this gets an extra +1/+1. And let's start getting in there. So, I mean, they could have the boat eat this in theory. Which we're probably just going to have to live with, because otherwise they're just making one of these every turn. Yeah. I guess we hold it back. Then if they trade, let's go with the 2 attackers. We need to hit one of our flyers pretty quickly. It's the fact that they can just crew forever. Not good for us. Interesting how the value of things has changed. You know, this is a very high value. Now it just doesn't matter. I mean, that's a heck of a combination. I think it's the second time I'm going to get crushed by this card in draft. I think they already want to declare blockers. I think they want to do that sooner, but oh, it can crew itself. That's something. Yeah, they just have close to infinite mana. We don't need to equip this right now. I don't think they're even getting aggressive, to be honest. What a beating. Just making infinite creatures. Yeah, it's kind of a sick little 3-card combination. I mean, go figure 2 of them being rares. But we need a flyer to stand a chance in finishing this game out. If we hit one of them, we probably are trading with that. Just, I mean, they're going to make a 1/1, but we don't want to let them keep making 1/1s, so we will block. So yeah, the game plan now is hit a flyer. That is a flyer. We don't have anything we can exile yet, unfortunately. Let's make a flyer. Let's double equip it. Hope they don't have some insane removal spell. Oh, excuse me. Let's make it into a 5, and then there's nothing they can do to get us to get that into combat. On defense, we'll obviously attack with it. So they're going to crew probably, 4 times here, 5. So they've got 8 mana, so they can do this. I think that they can do that once per turn. Otherwise, we're just in Shitsville. I can't think if there's a fireball effect in this format. That would definitely be a way to, I mean, it would kill this first, but a way to steal a game here. This is like the memeiest aggro. I definitely have never thought of putting this in an aggro deck, but turns out it's pretty dumb with this. I mean, it's a great late game card, but just normally not where in an aggro deck you want to pay 4 mana to not do anything. But I mean, they're getting a huge amount of value here. I think because we've been gaining life, they won't be able to burn us out, but making everything, it's just such a combination. I definitely had not seen something like that. So you're getting both sides too, not just making creatures every turn. How did they... Oh, they searched for A dragon. That's cute. That's really cute. Search your deck for anything too. Wow, it just does it all. Go opponent. This is definitely one of the cooler decks I've seen drafted. So I mean now we do have to block because they are gonna boast. So we block, otherwise we die. The plus side is if it dies, we get it back. Like we just keep playing this game. Yep, that's fine. We'll get there with flyers eventually. Also a good one. That's going to be fun that we can return another one back. Let's go for the equips. Try to make a giant again. So that makes it a 5. So it should make it a 7. And then we can boast if we need to. If they attack with the dragon, we probably do just take it. Oh, this is just using all parts of the buffalo here. No, thank you, we will not attack. I never even considered you can just search for everything too. That is such a cool interaction. We're gonna have to try that in some weird standard deck at some point. It's one of the times you wish you could talk to your opponent and just feel like your deck is awesome, even regardless of whether we lose or win. This is just such a sweet. I mean, they're going to search their deck for whatever creature they want now. It's going to crew itself. So I assume this was their best creature, or at least one that kept them alive. They can search for 2. That's outstanding for them. We may end up having to get this into combat just to kill something small. Ideally, we keep this one out of combat. We can go up to 25 life. I don't think we're blocking the dragon. Just there's no reason to. Okay, they've got another flyer. And crew again, make another. So they can still search for 5, end up with 2 more. Jeez. Yeah, we need them to not have a removal spell this turn. So give something haste, draw a card. Five, 8, 14, 15, 16. Now we lost 14, 16, 20, 29, 31. Is that right? 8, 14, 16, 20, 29. Well, let's say we'll go here 33. So yeah, we need to block some things. Yeah, I mean, we probably aren't blocking that anyway. We need to be able to hit them back for a win. There will be lots of chumping going on, though. If they've got the Doomblade, I can't think of its name now, the +3/+3 trample, we're just going to end up losing. They must have something good here, the fact that they're going up on treasures. This is one of the sillier. Okay, so they can make flyers. So they've got us. We won't be able to break through on that if they cast a second spell, which I assume they have. So we need to hit a, which at that point I assume they're not attacking with all the flyers. But we'll see. They seem like they have a pretty good plan. They have 2 of those, of course. Well, at least we get to see the opponent's whole deck. So yeah, I mean, they have no reason to attack with anything this turn. I don't think that's going to do it. Pretty sure the opponent's got us here. So we're going to concede that. They've added a whole bunch of power to the board. This doesn't have any way of busting through. So, I mean, we'll trade here first. We recast it. It's a 6/6. It doesn't do enough. I mean, they're just going to keep going crazy with this every turn and keep going wider and wider until we don't have enough blockers. I mean, they have a solid deck. I think I like ours better, assuming they don't assemble exactly the combo of rare, rare, and this. I think we win most games. They do have a very strong deck, though. Like, having 2 of these is good. But good game, opponent. We will go on to the next one. Yeah, that's a heck of a combo. You gotta love it. If anyone else has seen that before, let me know. That was a pretty spectacular game. That's not one you account for when you're predicting your 4 or 5 wins. Yeah, if at any point there too we hit one of our removal spells, it feels like it goes much differently. We had a couple turns where if we hit a way to just break through damage with a flyer, if we hit the shock and stop them from making all of the tokens or from making all the treasure was the real key. But yeah, they've got a nice solid aggressive deck just with that as a backup plan, which is pretty good. This is the downside of having these in here, is when you have 2 of them. I mean, we have to keep it. We either hopefully hit a land or hit a creature. This could be the one that very much punishes us, though. But we have a lot of power in flyers. If we get to 4 lands, we just equip this right away and then play another one. Or if they kill one, you get to cast the other one cheaper. But if we never hit a 4th land, or only hit a couple more picks or run amucks, something like that, no early creatures, that's how this hand loses. I think worth the upside, though. It's going to be hard for a lot of decks to beat 2 of these, especially with a trick and actually pretty good equipment. We take the removal spells. We don't want the other axe, the other equipment, the 2 enchantments. I don't think we have any other straight 4s, so we would take even like make 2 dwarfs at this point. And the other one of these, I think there's 6 or 7 cards we don't want to hit. Like even lands right now we take. Okay, we will take that. Hope they don't have the shock, but they also don't know the components of our hand, the value that shocking that would bring. If they just play a 2/2, we're going to play and equip the pick. Okay, so they're shorter on lands. It's definitely worth getting this up and running. Get that 4th mana, gain some life, which definitely can pay off if we hit our 3-drop angel. It's my angel. See my angel? I need to break that Simpsons video out. This is just kind of angel tribal. They've got some ways to gain some life here. Yeah, I mean, we're going to attack. We will just run them over if they try to block, which I think they're kind of priced into. Trading 3 for 3 lifelink is not really where you want to be. But we shall see. They're definitely thinking about it. This is why I love this card. It just puts them in really a no-win spot. If you don't block, okay, fine. I'll just make an angel and probably make another one of these actually. And if you do, okay, let's do this. We'll still get in for what, 4 lifelink or 4 gain 6. Make a treasure still. Follow it up with an angel. Like that's a tough spot for the opponent to be in. We've cleared their board out. Have 2 3/3s still. And then if they have the demon bolt, what do you do? Yeah, I mean, we're going to attack with everything. If they want to trade, great. We will. There's some value to potentially equipping. But I think we'll take the 3 life and trade. Assuming they want to, which I think they have to, otherwise we just keep gaining more life. Then we get to follow it up with a 2 mana, play here, 1 mana, and equip. Should probably equip to this. Sure, we'll do the trades. Cast that for 2. Just pretty silly. And then, sure, they've got a Demon Bolt. You can kill one of them. And that's why we'll equip to this. Because if they Demon Bolt, they want to kill one of those anyway. Might as well spread our power around as much as possible. Also, First Strike is definitely huge. We can leave that back if they have any small creatures like these. They have a 2-butt, like, sure, we'll try to eat it. Yep, let's get rid of that. Just no reason to. I mean, it's a great top deck. If they have some kind of trick, fine. We sit back for a turn. We're not in a huge hurry here. Okay. Let's get in there. I mean, if they have a removal spell, they mostly have to point it at one of these to take less damage. If they want to kill the raptor, fine. They seem like they're a somewhat aggressive deck. I can't imagine. They could have it, but playing the deal 2 to everything is very awkward when you have 3 3-drops that are X2s. Okay, there's the Demon Bolt we assume they had. Play this out. Well, I think we're going to equip over here for right now, just because if they do have deals damage to the X3s, we'd rather these 2 go down right now. Before combat, we probably would have switched back to the Raptor to split up damage as much as possible. Just a great aggressive start. No crazy shenanigans that game. Can't promise them every single game, but that was a really fun one by our opponent. Glad that that was a recorded one. That's not a game that you could really describe anywhere else. If anyone's gotten to see something like that, definitely leave me a comment. I love hearing about the crazy draft situations that come up. It's something I never would have anticipated at all playing this format. Okay, we don't get any of our red cards, which is awkward, at least to start. We can play this on turn 2 and then follow up. It's an aggressive keep, but I think we're going to try it. If they remove this, we're in a lot of trouble. Opponent doesn't know that, but play this on turn 1, this on turn 2, and hopefully be able to get in. Otherwise, we make it bigger and get in. This is probably on the lower end of keepable hands, or hands I would consider keeping. Drawing an extra red card doesn't help, but we're going against something control-y. Okay, we're okay with them playing that. That's probably even better. So let's play this now and start getting in there. Get a 3/3 vigilance. He will probably be the next play, just so if this dies, it comes back. Okay, they've got a rune. No third land. Love that. I think we're going to play the axe. This is a little faster, but we're going to get the axe, make it an X4, and hold up a removal spell. So if they play anything that's a 2, we will kill it. An X2. Okay, that's game. This is definitely a powerful 1-drop, and showing the power of those. A lot of the removal spells are either damage based or, like the black one costs 4 as a common to exile, so it's quite a while before they can get to doing that. And then we've just done so much damage to begin with that it's hard for decks to come back. This deck is a little more staying power than some of the others too, with the late drop angels. I think we have 5 of them between the commons, the 3 commons, the rare, and the mythic one. So even if they kill our early threats, just being able to re-equip our equipment or use the enchantments to buy back other enchantments just do a lot of damage. So the axe I was not super high on to start the format, but I think it's a very, very solid card for your aggressive deck. If you get in 3 times, it's paid for itself. If you get in once or twice, it's just reducing the cost while buffing him. And again, making your flyers. I think this deck would really be showing off if we had 2 or 3 of the Raptor instead of just 1. So this, without any way to pump this, we're not playing this on turn 1. So it's probably this on turn 2. We hope that we can hit another white, most likely. Kind of awkwardly need both. We would keep it though. That's what we sign up for. But we'd like to get that +1/+1 counter somewhere. Okay, that's solid. So play this, then we will play this and this to put the counter here. Get in for 3 lifelink next turn. If they hold up some kind of removal spell mana, we will not put the counter on that. Okay, so the counter will go on this one now. Otherwise, we can alternately put it on him, which might actually be the way to go. We'll do that. Let's try to avoid, I mean, if they've got another Frostbite, they'll get them anyway, so maybe we should have split it. Okay, maybe they won't. Yeah, Demon Bolt. I think splitting it probably was the correct play, but I was hoping to get around another Frostbite. We are getting a little, drawing the 3 lands in a row. We needed a couple, but that's a little awkward. We need to start hitting some spells. So we can power through 1 creature here. And if they've got the deal 2 damage to everything, this game's just over. We can power through that one. Oh, 4 lands. They want to block. We don't get any extra damage in, but it is just a removal spell. Ugh. We really need to not keep hitting lands, though. I'd say the opponent is pretty favored right now. Looks like they've got a solid deck, too. Just 2 removal spells. The fact that we're keeping up with them on lands and our 15-land aggro deck is... It's not how we drew it up. Ugh. I think that is. I'll have to go back and actually confirm. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. Sure. I just don't know. Do we have anything that even costs so much? I mean, we're going to play it, but that's weird because it was our opening hand. I think it was 5 and 2 because we needed more lands. So yeah, I think it's 5 lands in a row, which it does happen some percentage of the time. It just doesn't feel good. They've got a very solid deck too. We just have no equipment or anything to punish them really. And we, making this smaller, we could have gotten in for what, 2 or 3 more damage, so we could have them at 9 if we play that way. Okay. That's not the worst thing. I mean, we're still not in a good spot, but so we can get rid of a cleric. If we have a dwarf warrior, dwarf cleric, yeah, we'll do that. That's a good draw. We'll take that. Would have loved it a turn or 2 ago, but yeah, let's take this one. It should pump both then as cleric and dwarf. That puts them on a pretty reasonable clock. If they just tap out for one big dumb guy, I think we're in a good spot. I assume they have to have something though, with all the drawing they've been doing. That's not one big dumb guy we can handle, actually, turns out. That's a heck of a finish on their part. Okay, so let's do this the right way. So we're going to play this, play him so we get the counter on him. We're going to decline. Put the counter here. I think they've got another Demon Bolt. We're not in a great spot anyway. Let's get that though. No attacking for that summoner. Watch them just have a slice. The second one, oh yeah, would bounce this. They'll have a second one just for the fun of it. Anyone else feeling that? That's a good Timmy moment. This will be the memeiest of leagues. Bounce everything again. Give another one haste. That would be game. I like what they've got going on here. This is a cool Giants deck. Here's Demon Bolt. I'll bind the monster. Okay, that's not a bad play for them. If they don't have a creature, though, we still are on a 3-turn clock. I assume they've got the Unsummon for him. Actually, no, that wouldn't make any sense, but we have to play this out. Oh, they've got a counterspell? That's good. I mean, we can't play around that at all. Obviously, they're just going to have 2 mana up for the rest of the game. Well, that's not how we wanted to do that. So we are just taking 7 if they swing in. Obviously, it's got trample, so there's no way around that. If they don't play a creature, we will probably just attack in. Our best draw might just be second run amok. I mean, no, we will not block. It doesn't matter what you have. Like, there's just not a way that's a right play to block that because it doesn't reduce enough damage. Hopefully they're holding 2 or 3 lands. Because boasting doesn't do... Oh. Well. Come on. Them have nothing. Us have run amok. Do they have another binding? That would be... Oh. Sure. That's interestingly just enough to keep them alive. That's really unfortunate. So I think we misplayed this one then. Because we could have gotten some extra damage in. If we played with our +1/+1 counters a little differently. So that loss is on me, that's not on the deck. Even drawing all those lands in a row. Hopefully we'll be able to get some more wins out of this one. After losing to the greatest draft deck I've seen, just the coolest combination, and then losing to some misplays on my part. I feel like I'm doing the deck a disservice. This is a pretty strong red-white aggro deck. Not necessarily something that I would guarantee a 6 or 7 wins with, but I do think it's in that 4 to 5 range. I think anytime you're looking at a deck getting 7 wins, you need some things to go right for you. Okay. Oh, first. It's our first opponent. I think we do have to keep this. We'd prefer 3 lands, but if they don't have anything, this just runs away with the game. If they do have something, then we play an angel. Like, that's a solid draw. Let's hit 5 non-land spells in a row deck. Give us some good luck here. Hit the top of the deck. Look, let's hit the top. That's a good one. Oh, yeah, we'll make that treasure token. And if they attack, we're... Alright, this is dwarf. Just make sure. Yeah, then we can run amok if we... Oh, that's going to be Blowout City. Go for it. Yes. That might just be game right there, depending on what they have as a follow-up. Because ideally, whatever they have is next 3 at the highest, so it trades with this, and then we start making dwarves. Sure. Yeah, we can play that too. We would love an equipment here. Would have loved that to stay alive. So making 1 extra would have been great. But we've got some aggro here. Again, if our aggressive opponent has the deal 2 to everything, we're in trouble. I mean, we don't get to play around that. If they have it, they do. If not, there we go. Yeah, I mean, playing around that specific card just allows us to lose to other things. I mean, it's good to be aware of, but not much we can do to play around it. Another very good draw from the deck. And I think that's a lot of what the white and red-white, specifically aggressive decks, are capable of. Combining stuff like Run Amok, where there's just no good choice there. You can't keep taking 3 and letting me make treasures and then continuing to make 2 1s or 3 1s with the Lord. So that's just not a good option to let that live. And then when you block, you just leave yourself open to taking a bunch of damage and not getting anywhere with killing the creature. The interesting choice is if I knew I was in a super aggressive deck, the Run Amok versus Demon Bolt becomes somewhat of a discussion, which is interesting. It's probably still just Demon Bolt, but I think Run Amok is definitely better than the deal 2 damage, because most often you don't have enough snow lands to make it deal 3. I love 1 or 2 in this deck, but This is so close. Them going first. Like, if they don't have a removal spell, we just get to cast it. I'm probably going to keep it for that. I like going for the upside. But it's a little rough. You know what? We're going to mulligan. This is absolutely no better. We definitely, the first hand was so much better than this. So we're going to keep. We're going to get rid of one of these two. We need to hit a red land or some early things quickly. Is that right? So the thought is, if we hit a red land, maybe this lets us go. Yeah, we're going to go like that. That we can start to run away a little bit if we hit a red land. Oh, that first one. That first hand we had some chances with. There's a good chance we're just not going to play Magic this game. I think we lose most games that we go down to 5, though. Granted, drawing 2 red cards in a row is not ideal. Opponent will start getting in for 3. So these will not get there. No, let's get it out there. Yeah, we've got some dead draws here. I really do not like going down to 5 in draft. It's just so hard to come back if your opponent just has a couple 1-for-1s. Sometimes you got to hope to get a little lucky. Interesting. I guess they want to leave it back, or they've got a spell. Okay, they want to foretell. Yeah, we're pretty dead. I don't think we come back for the most part. Let's just cast this. So them having the lifelink attacker is just brutal. I almost think we have to block that. Then we're playing this, equipping it. It's not good overall, but we're not going to win by them hitting us while they gain 2 every single turn. That's definitely not how it gets done. All these 2-1s, just going to keep trading with silly things. I guess that's what we've got to do. I think, have we drawn exclusively? I mean, I know we drew the pick, but we did hit exclusively red cards since then. Oh, probably want to plug that in. You have to give me a minute. Okay, this opponent is not playing super great cards. So there's nothing really that could get me to play strategic planning in this format with a bunch of foretell. Second red land probably is our best draw, which is not ideal. If they attack with both, we probably need to block the boat. If they just attack with the boat, I don't think we're blocking. I think we're going to get in there. We'll probably start making dwarves and yeah, I think we're going to take 5. I think one of the ways we can come back is, well, that might help. Does that change anything? This is a berserker. That's not a berserker. Okay. So we want to double gold basically from hitting them. So let's play this. Let's get in there. We will make a hit them. Make another one. Auto pay for that. So are we playing this out, or are we gonna next turn? We're gonna hold that up. So if they swing with everything, we have to block this, or blocking here. We have to block one of these. Well, maybe we don't actually. We might take all 5. Unless they've got a good way to kill us, though. I think they need to leave something back, because just letting us make these forever. This one does work good with the longboat, as we saw in one of our earlier games. Okay, they've got some abilities to fly here. So I think, I don't even know if the enchantment gets us out of it. I can't remember if that's just a creature or not. And we have to play this, obviously. So I'm swinging with everything. Isn't my favorite thing in the world. Trading with that's a little awkward, because it just leaves the same behind. We can't take 6. Yeah, that flying is rough. So at least we can. I think we might just be leaving that alive. Block like this, we can play this for 3. And then we can get rid of a dwarf and at least pump them up. It's not my favorite thing ever, but oh, well, that's a little better. I think we're in trouble anyway. If they don't have another creature, it's tough to crew that. They likely do have another creature. Is boasting this. So if we play this, if this attacks, we've got 3 mana left over after this, which means we could play one of these. Or we can boast, assuming we attack again. We can boast. I think we're going to play to try to stay alive here. Oh, we did that in the wrong order. We should have made them all bigger. That was silly. We left a counter off of this one, which is definitely relevant. I mean, I guess I would have traded here. Not how we wanted to do that. So we're dead to a lot of things, obviously being at 1 life, but if they don't have a lot of those things, we're in a little bit better spot. They just get the 6 mana, bounce 2 things, dead to that. Okay, that's also one way to kill us. Yeah, I mean, no way we're beating that. So, good games, opponent. What did we end up at for wins, even? I think we hit 4. I think that's definitely a low end for this deck, too. I think this was definitely a strong deck. We had the misplay, where we could have won. I believe we left them multiple damage on the field, and we had them at 1. This one, I think we probably actually... Do we get there? I think we had enough to maybe get there with the first hand, but it could really get punished against some. So I think we were right in the range of this. I think it's on the lower side. I think more often we end up at 5 wins, but we'll take the 4 wins and be happy with it. Thank you again for joining me. If you saw anything interesting in there, definitely leave a comment. The Sweet Magna combination was an awesome game, so hopefully some people are watching that. Leave me some comments about that. Otherwise, if you consider liking and subscribing, I really appreciate it. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.